Hi, I'm Summer Goriel, live here on the set of Debate Night. It is the ultimate live talk show on ABN, a riveting debate night series here on ABN every Thursday evening where two opponents go head-to-head for the ultimate spiritual battle between God and Satan. Every Thursday night we have live debate night, a 90-minute program where we have the audience call in and ask questions, but the main goal is to discuss a very heated, very controversial topic, to debate a topic that may be politically incorrect to talk about through mainstream outlets, but we do debate it here live on ABN. The opponents start with opening statements, they then go into rebuttals and crossfires, and then afterwards they go into their closing statements, and then they let the audience call in with their questions. So listen, if you enjoy watching these types of shows, if you enjoy a little controversy in the live talk shows, then this show is for you. But guess what? It is 100% supported by donations. It depends on your donations, it depends on your support, and it depends on you telling your friends to call into the shows, to support ABN Ministry, and to keep posted about the latest updates. So it needs your support, it needs your help, and it needs your prayers to keep it on the air. So we ask that you do all of that and more to keep this show on ABN every week. Thank you.
Christ had not come.
Well, welcome back. We are at the brink of our last segment of the evening. Again, an opportunity for you to call. We do have a caller on the line. We're going to say again, we're going to ask this particular caller and everyone following to make the question clear, succinct. We are not looking for commentary. We're looking for a question. So please state your question and state who you are directing it to. Christian, you may go ahead.
Peace of Christ to all. My question is to Dr. Greg, please. And the question is, in the Quran, chapter 4, verse 157, it says that Allah, He made it appear to the Christians that He was crucified, which means this is a proof that Allah Himself is approving a crucifixion which happened, and the witnesses, they are saying the truth in the Bible when they say Jesus was crucified. And the Muslims, as long as they believe in a cloning, this means the Muslims themselves are the first to witness for the crucifixion of Jesus, who look exactly like Jesus. All their claim is that He just looked like Jesus. And as long as the Muslims, they are looking for eyewitnesses, this means that God Himself was an eyewitness for this, and He is saying this would happen. So my question is, where is the eyewitnesses for Jesus was crucified, as long as the Quran Himself did witness the crucifixion and said it just was a cloning? So now how we will know that this is not a cloning and this was a fake Jesus? Who in the world will believe that somebody is playing games and his name is Allah, but he is playing lies and making fake Jesus? So Mr. Greg, can you answer?
And your question is to Sheikh Karim?
No, to Dr. Greg, please. I want him to answer why Allah is making someone look like Jesus, lying to us, making us believe that this is Jesus to appear to us on the cross. Because Allah in here is witnessing that yes, there was a crucifixion, yes, that He was crucified, yes, this is true, but it was a fake one. And He waited 600 years with this lie, hiding it without telling us that I am a liar, I am Allah, the God of lies. I will not tell you until I send somebody else, his name is Muhammad. So the question is, why Allah you think He did such a lie to us? Dr. Gray, thank you.
Dr. Evans.
Thank you very much, caller, for asking your question. I'm not certain I heard every word quite correctly, and I apologize in advance if I have misheard something and therefore do not respond quite correctly. I would never think that God or Allah has lied. Of course not. But I can't help but wonder if Muhammad himself in Surah 4, 157 to 158 has either he has misunderstood or we are not understanding him rightly even now. And I think that that is a very delicate way of responding to that. I don't think from a historical point of view there's any doubt. And so Jewish scholars, Christian scholars, non-Jewish, non-Christian scholars, scholarship around the world in many languages, many countries, do not doubt that Jesus really existed, that he was a Palestinian Jew from Galilee, that he taught about God and about his kingdom, that he told parables, that he prayed the Lord's Prayer, as we call it today. They don't doubt that he engaged in healing people, but they don't doubt that he went to Jerusalem at Passover. They don't doubt that it was he who was seized by the ruling priest, handed over to Pontius Pilate, the governor, and was put to death on a cross. And those who are Christians, believing Christians, don't doubt that God raised him up. I'm not sure why Muhammad, for some reason, presents this idea that it was a look-alike or somebody else died on the cross. I find that most strange and frankly quite unbelievable.
Sheikh, Karim, you have 1 minute to respond to that question if you'd like.
First of all, I really want to invite you, Greg, the callers, to be respectful. He's saying Allah lied. Look at the Old Testament. You believe in the Old Testament. The name Allah, I think you're an Arabic speaking. The name Allah was mentioned 17 times in the first page in the book of Genesis. Be respectful of the deity. Be respectful of God. And I'm really, Chris, do something about it. We're not here to hear insults to the mighty Allah here. There's no need for this. We're presenting facts and take it or leave it. All right? As for your question, now you're proving that the verse is authentic and you're saying it was made to appear like them. Finish the verse, Christian. Finish the whole verse. It says, وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ يَقِينًا. For sure, they killed Jesus not. You need to take the whole verse, not a piece of it. Thank you. Easy to answer.
Okay, we have another caller. Danielle, you may go ahead and give us your question, please. Just stick with the question, no commentary. And who is it directed to?
This is Daniel. The question is to the Sheikh. Doesn't Muslim tradition hold that, because this is in response to what you said about Pilate crucifying Barabbas over Jesus of Nazareth. Doesn't Muslim tradition hold that God switched Jesus at the cross, so not in front of Pilate, but actually on the cross he was switched? So that's my question, is about that. Also, when you said about Paul was self-appointed, in the second epistle of Peter, verse 15, Peter gives legitimacy to Paul. You seem to be familiar with the Christian scriptures, so I assume that you would know that. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel. Go ahead, Sheikh.
Daniel, I really appreciate your question. You need to understand this, Daniel. I'm using your text because for me to sit here and address Christian viewers, I cannot use the Quran. Here I use the verse from the Quran, you don't like it. You see, Dr. Evans is saying how Muhammad comes 600 years later. You see, Muhammad did not speak this out of his mind. وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَى. He does not speak out of desire. This is a revelation from Allah. The knower of the present and the future, the knower of the seen and the unseen told him about it. That you differed upon it, and you have yourself testified that they had no evidence of it. Now, whether he was switched on the cross, whether he is, what I believe in as a Muslim, Daniel, that he was not touched. وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهِ. That's what the Quran tells us. They plotted to crucify him. Allah blotted. وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. And Allah is the best in blotting. إِذْ قَالَ اللَّهُ يَا عِيسَى إِنِّي مُتَوَفِّيكَ وَرَافِعُكَ إِلَيَّ. Isa, I'm raising you to me. That's what I believe. But all these scenarios, I'm really using your gospel, which I don't believe in anyways. I mean, not all of it. A lot of it are okay, are accepted, but these are the handwriting of people. So for me, I'm just using it as an evidence to convince you that the crucifixion never took place. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Evans, you have 1 minute to respond to that answer if you'd like.
Well, again, we hear special pleading. You hear the Sheikh say that the Quran is inspired, that Muhammad did not, these are not his words, but they're the words of God. But of course, the New Testament writings, he says they're just simply written by men. And so I find this a mixed argument, an invoking of theological categories when it suits. I'm suggesting, why don't we confront the historical evidence and settle that first? The death of Jesus is attested in numerous traditions and manuscripts and books from great antiquity within his own generation, whereas Muhammad has a different idea writing 600 years later. I'll tell you what a historian looks at that and it's a slam dunk. They'll trust the Gospels any day. There are more of them, they're closer in time. We need to establish the history first and then go on and speculate about the theology and about who's inspired and who is not.
Thank you very much. We have another caller. Tony, who is your question directed to? And please make your...
I'm presented for both of them, if they could answer me. I'm asking both of them and said, is God, why he need a human to pray for him? Why you all the time, he say that's my slave. All the time for a human, consider them as a slave. And if God give them the freedom to choose, why he keep getting involved with them in their life in the Old Testament? On every religion book, he keep getting involved and he keep killing them in the Old Testament. Even he killed the babies. He killed everybody. So Jesus said, by their work you know them. So if we, by their work, we know them, so if the God of the Jews in the past, he was a killer, so he's an evil?
Okay,
if he was
Sheikh.
an evil God to kill all of these children and also the babies? Could you
Sheikh, would you like to take that?
Of you, if he gives the God, give the freedom for people to free choose?
Okay. Thank you, Tony. Sheikh, would you like to take that question? You have 2 minutes.
Sure. Tony, come on, Tony, relax. Yes, God loves us. He gives us the freedom to choose. He's not after killing us. He wants us to find happiness in this world. That is why he sent us chain of messengers, one after another, to show us how to live. God does not teach us to kill one another, Tony. God teaches us to be respectful for one another, teaches us to honor the life of other human being. God teaches us this in the Revelation, whether it is in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, in the Quran. All the messengers, including Jesus, peace be upon him, they came with this message, Tony. What happens, Tony, is some people misinterpret, some people who do not understand it, some people who follow their whims and desires, and they do not want to submit to the commands of Allah, to be nice to the neighbor. Jesus himself told us, we have this, that if your enemy give him the other cheek. Be nice to people. Be good to your neighbor. Muhammad told us that somebody went to paradise, will go to paradise because he removed a harmful object from the street.